Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Munmun Bhattacharya. Coming up in the next hour. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold key bilateral talks with his Polish counterpart Donald Tusk. Call on President Andrzej Duda in Warsaw today before heading to neighboring Ukraine. US President Joe Biden calls Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, stresses on the urgency of a Gaza ceasefire. Tim Walz accepts nomination to be Harris's running mate, vows he and Kamala Harris will defeat Donald Trump in the US presidential election. Russia says its forces repelled a Ukrainian incursion in the Bryansk region. As Democratic Republic of Congo reports over 1,000 new Mpox cases in a week, Africa urgently seeks vaccines. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Poland as part of his three-day visit to Central Europe. That's our lead story. India's Prime Minister has a packed day in Poland today. The day will begin with a ceremonial welcome at the Chancellery. Later, he will hold a restricted meeting with his Polish counterpart, Donald Tusk, followed by delegation-level talks and joint statements. The Prime Minister will lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier, after which he will hold a bilateral meeting with President Andrzej Duda. Finally, before leaving for Ukraine, PM Modi will interact with business leaders and Polish influencers. Now, a quick recap of Prime Minister's engagements on day one. PM Modi addressed the Indian diaspora in capital city Warsaw, during which he shared his thoughts on the transformative progress achieved by the country and outlined his vision for a developed India. He also dwelt on India's age-old philosophy of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family, and its contribution to global progress and well-being. The Prime Minister stated that India, following the tradition of Buddha, is committed to peace rather than war. He emphasized that India advocates for peace in the region and believes that now is not the time for conflict.
भारत बुद्ध की विरासत वाली धरती है। और जब बुद्ध की बात आती है तो जो युद्ध नहीं, शांति पर विश्वास करती है। और इसलिए भारत इस रीजन में भी स्थायी शांति का एक बड़ा पैरोकार है। भारत का मत एकदम साफ है। ये युद्ध का युग नहीं है। ये उन चुनौतियों से निपटने के लिए एकजुट होने का समय है, जिनसे मानवता को सबसे बड़े खतरे हैं। इसलिए भारत डिप्लोमेसी और डायलॉग पर बल दे रहा है।
Besides, PM Modi paid a solemn homage at the monument to the Battle of Monte Cassino in Warsaw. This monument commemorates the sacrifice and valor of soldiers from Poland, India and other countries during the Second World War. Prime Minister's visit to the monument underscores the shared history and deep-rooted ties between India and Poland that continue to inspire many. PM Modi also paid homage at the Kolhapur Memorial in Warsaw, Poland, situated next to the Monte Cassino Memorial. During World War II, a small village in Maharashtra named Valevade became a beacon of hope for the Polish refugees. India stood up and welcomed approximately 6,000 Polish individuals who fled Soviet repression between 1942 and 1948. This memorial is a tribute to the great royal family of Kolhapur. The royal family was at the forefront of providing shelter to Polish women and children displaced due to the Second World War. Inspired by the ideals of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the great royal family of Kolhapur put humanity above everything else and ensured a life of dignity for the Polish women and children. Humanity and compassion are vital foundations of a just and peaceful world, depicting which the Prime Minister also visited the Jam Sahib of Navanagar Memorial in Warsaw. There he highlighted the humanitarian contribution of Jam Sahib Digvijay Singh Ji, Ranjit Singh Ji Jadeja, who ensured shelter as well as care to Polish children left homeless due to the Second World War. Jam Sahib is fondly remembered in Poland as Dobry Maharaja. He paid homage at the memorial. And joining us now live is Vishal Baristo from Warsaw, Poland. Vishal, is the stage set for Prime Minister's engagements on the second and final day of his visit to Poland?
Well, a very good morning to you, Moon. It's still good morning. We are 3.5 hours late than India. Yes, the stage is all set. Today, the Prime Minister is going to have bilaterals with both Prime Minister Donald Tusk and also the President. And also, he would be paying homage to the tomb of the unknown soldier. And then we would have a statement, press statement later in the day. It is going to be a very, very important day because yesterday, as you showed our viewers how the three events were all so lively and so packed with the Indian diaspora, and Prime Minister made it very clear in his speech that India is all for dialogue and diplomacy. This is not the time to fight because there are greater challenges, there are bigger challenges to fight the evils against humanity. He was hinting towards the evil of terrorism, the evils of pandemic, and why the world needs to stand together. He also referred to the motto of the G20, One Earth, One Family, One Future, and why India is focusing on inclusive growth because together we grow. This was his message. And he said that we want peace in the region, and that is why I am here after 45 years. And he said that I am very happy to be here. About a month back, I was there in Austria. That was first visit by any Indian Prime Minister in 40 years. So he said that the policy of my government is to go and reach out to all those who need our help, and if we can help and sort out other people's, other countries' problems, we are always there. India showed the way during the time of pandemic. More than 100 countries were supplied with medicines and paramedic stuff wherever it was required, whether it was in Africa, in Asia, and also in the Eastern Europe. So we are always there, and that is what his message was. And today, when he is going to meet the President and the Prime Minister of Poland, he would also carry the same message. But there are other issues as well, though Poland is our largest trading partner in the Central Europe, but still we need to take it to next level because $6 billion we stand today, $6 billion US, but that is only 1/10 to what China is having with Poland. So to compete with our neighbors and also with other countries, and also to use all the opportunities that Poland provide and India has, both the countries need to focus more on other areas like pharmaceuticals. We are already there, but then artificial intelligence, space is one another sector which Prime Minister also mentioned yesterday. So these are the areas that India is looking forward to, and Poland is also very keen, especially in the sector of digitization. In fact, the Deputy Foreign Minister, while speaking to DD India yesterday, said that India and Poland have a lot of opportunities, and there's still a lot of hope between the, as far as the economic growth is concerned. And why not? Because both countries value democracy, and both also are democratically elected, have a democratically elected government in their respective countries.
Yes, also, Vishal, since you're referring to the Prime Minister's address to the diaspora and a number of sectors he had mentioned, he'd also mentioned technology, green growth, clean energy. So are these some areas where discussions could also take place with the select Polish businessmen that the Prime Minister would be meeting, other than the areas that he pointed out?
Definitely, this is a very, very important issue that you've raised, and also the Prime Minister made it in his speech yesterday. Green energy, India wants to be the pioneer in green energy. Green hydrogen is one sector where India is focusing a lot. Then we also are working very keenly on the semiconductors. India wants to be the hub of semiconductors. We know that China is having its monopoly in semiconductors, and so does Taiwan. So India wants to become a growing niche, a growing power in semiconductors and green energy, because green energy is the need of the hour. And Prime Minister said that we are walking the talk as far as the Paris Convention is concerned. We want to reduce the carbon footprint, and that is why we are focusing more and more on green energy that needs a special technology, and India is ready to offer that technology, what we have, to others, and especially to a country like Poland.
We'll leave it at that. Vishal Baristo reporting from Warsaw in Poland. We'll keep coming back to you for more updates through the day. Time for us to take a breather on DD India News Hour. Coming up after that, Democratic Republic of Congo records over 1,000 new Mpox cases. Russia repels another Ukrainian attack and shoots down 28 Ukrainian drones. Democratic Vice President nominee Tim Walz brands Trump as weird and dangerous at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago.
This is a story of making of India's space surge and stellar decade of space, scientific feats scripted by India in the history of planetary explorations.
Stories of Indian scientists operating from the very first mission control room in a church and transporting rocket parts by bicycle and bullock carts. This is the stuff that India's legendary space stories are made of.
India is inching closer to the sun. India unraveled the secrets of Mars. India has its national pride placed on the moon.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Munman Bhattacharya. US President Joe Biden urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on the urgency of sealing a deal for a truce in Gaza and the release of hostages. Though both the conflicting parties, Israel and Hamas, stuck firmly to their demands, the White House in a statement said that Biden pressed Israeli Prime Minister to close the ceasefire and hostage release deal and discussed upcoming talks in Cairo to remove any remaining obstacles. The United States, Israeli, Egyptian and Qatari negotiators who are expected to meet in Cairo this weekend have for months struggled to bridge differences between Israel and Hamas. The call between Biden and Netanyahu comes after the trip by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken to West Asia. The Democratic Republic of Congo has recorded more than 1,000 new Mpox cases in the last week as the viral disease rages on in the Central African nation. More than 500 people have died and over 16,000 others have contracted the disease since the start of this year. So Congo continues to deal with the outbreak of Mpox. It's been declared a public health emergency by the World Health Organization some days back. There is growing concern around the world over the spread of Mpox that various countries has reported this disease. Besides Congo, there is Pakistan, there's Philippines, there's Thailand as well. And there is a growing demand for vaccines in Africa because Congo is where the most number of cases have been reported. Let's move on now. Russia says Ukraine on Wednesday launched one of the biggest drone attacks against Moscow since the start of the full-scale invasion. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces are continuing to advance in Russia's Kursk region. Megomi Lim has more from Kiev.
Russian officials said on Wednesday 45 Ukrainian drones were intercepted over several regions and that 11 of them were headed for Moscow. Ukraine has so far not commented and no injuries or damages have so far been reported. Now, Ukraine's military said on Wednesday it struck the site of an S-300 anti-aircraft system in Russia's southern Rostov region. This system has been used by Moscow's forces to carry out attacks against Ukrainian cities. And Ukraine, for the first time, revealed that Russia had launched a total of 9,600 missiles and 14,000 attack drones since the start of the full-scale invasion. Kiev said a majority of these attacks were carried out by S-300 and S-400 missiles. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces are continuing to advance in Russia's Kursk region. The country's commander-in-chief, Alexander Syrsky, said his forces captured an additional 28 to 35 kilometers of territory and now controlled a total of 93 settlements. Analysts are saying Ukraine still needs to capture a few more settlements to secure a buffer zone for the Sumy region to protect it from future Russian attacks and potential ground offensives. Now, authorities in the Sumy region said evacuations have been planned for 45,000 people living near the border with Russia. Although the Kursk incursion did push Russian forces back and artillery attacks have decreased, retaliatory airstrikes in the area have reportedly intensified. Megumi Lim in Kiev reporting for DD India.
And going back to the previous story that we were tracking on Mpox, where there has been 1,000 new cases that have been reported in the last 1 week in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the outbreak has happened and the demand for vaccines is only increasing. Well, Chris is joining us from Kinshasa now. Chris, what is the Democratic Republic of Congo doing to deal with this outbreak?
So the government has announced that it's stepping up public awareness campaigns across the country, and they have started putting up posters urging people to wash their hands, keep a social distance, and notify health workers of any suspected case. They're also going to increase the testing of suspected cases, which has been a major challenge. The DRC is the second largest country in Africa with a population of more than 100 million people, and the vast majority of these people are living in remote areas. Some of these areas are experiencing an armed conflict, so health workers have not been able to reach out to the people with suspected cases in that area. So they're also going to increase the treatment of the Mpox in the country. These are some of the things that the government has announced, but they're still facing challenges. The Ministry of Health has requested for $49 million to be able to try and halt the spread of the outbreak, but the government has released $10 million so far and promised to give them more money later. And so the government is relying a lot on the support of international agencies like the World Health Organization and the UN to try and scale back this outbreak that has spread to all the provinces of the country.
Right, Chris, also, what is Congo doing to prevent the further spread of Mpox to other countries?
Yeah, so the government has instructed its immigration officials at all the border points to start screening people who are crossing to neighboring countries. And that's because there is a strain of Mpox known as Clade 1b that was discovered in the east of the country near the border with Burundi. That strain is said to be more contagious and deadly than the one that was reported globally in 2022. And some of the cases have already spread to Burundi, Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda. And that is what prompted the World Health Organization to declare this outbreak a public health emergency of international concern. So they're working very closely with neighboring countries to ensure that people who are going out of the country do not have this infection. But it's a big challenge because the country is very large and there are areas in the DRC where people can cross using pathways to neighboring countries without any surveillance. And so they are trying to ensure that all those areas have health officials who can screen people crossing to the neighboring countries.
Even at that, Chris reporting from Kinshasa. Let's go back now to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russia has prevented Ukraine's incursion in the western Bryansk region near Kursk, where advancement began since early August. On Wednesday, Russian security forces repelled the attack by Ukraine in the Klimovo district. Russia shot down 28 drones and one of the drones caused fire at a military facility in Russia's southern Volgograd region. No casualties were reported, but temporary aviation restrictions have been imposed in the area. Amid incursion by Ukraine since this month, the Russians have begun setting up concrete shelters for civilians in crowded areas. Dasha Chernyshyova joins us live from Moscow. Dasha, Bryansk governor says Russian forces repelled an attack by a Ukrainian sabotage and reconnaissance team in the Bryansk region on Wednesday. What more can you tell us about how Russia repelled the latest incursion bid?
Well, indeed, we've heard the confirmation from the governor of the Bryansk region, another region that borders Ukraine, that there was an attempt by the Ukrainian military to cross the border into the Russian territory. That was on Wednesday evening, and this attempt was repelled. We understand that this is the region where the security has also been beefed up over the course of the past days following the incursion of Russia's Kursk region. Keep in mind, there are three border regions of Belgorod, Kursk and Bryansk that are directly jeopardized by the Ukrainian armed forces, and the Russian president has most recently said that Russia should be prepared for any sort of provocations in its Bryansk region as well. Meanwhile, we understand that the situation is also tense in the Kursk region where this incursion began. Russian MOD is still fighting against the Ukrainian armed forces there, and also the local authorities have said that they started the installations of the concrete shelters to help protect the civilian population as this incursion is ongoing. The acting governor of the region, Alexei Smirnov, said that the authorities have been installing those 60 installations in the bus stops, in the crowded areas. They will be provided with the phones, they will be provided with the medicamentations for the first aid and those kits. Similar shelters will be located in two other cities of the region, and we understand that the city has beefed up its security, including of such critical infrastructure as bridges. So certainly the situation is very fluid, and Russia is not immune from more threats from the Ukrainian side. Meanwhile, the MOD says they have set up 3 new groupings of troops that are designed to protect those border regions against any threat coming from the Ukrainian military.
Tasha, also after Russia shot down 28 drones launched by Ukraine over the Russian territory, what do we know about its aftermath so far?
Well, indeed, we understand that the total of 28 drones have been shot down by the air defense systems of Russia overnight, 13 of them in the Volgograd region. This is the southern region of Russia, and this is where the witnesses have started to talk about the explosions and the blasts and the gups that they heard in the air in the region overnight. Now, the local authorities of the region have confirmed that there was an attack by the Ukrainian drones against this region. Most of those drones have been shot down in the area of Mariinovka. This is home to one of Russia's military airfields. Now, the governor of the region has said that as a result of this drone attack, even though most of those drones have been intercepted, the fire started at the facility of the Russian Defense Ministry. He didn't name which one, but still we understand that the firefighters are working on site, and obviously the residents of the Volgograd city are not able to arrive or depart from their airport because there have been temporary restrictions imposed because of the safety concerns.
We leave it at that. Dasha reporting from Moscow. Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz has branded Donald Trump as weird and dangerous at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. The Minnesota governor, who's become a household name in just a few weeks, introduced himself to American voters and promised Kamala Harris was ready to lead the U.S. with energy, passion and joy. Nick Harper reports from Washington.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz rounded out day 3 of the Democratic National Convention. His speech was short, but it was packed full of energy and packed full of sports metaphors. He embraced his small-town American upbringing and his time as a high school American football coach. He said he wasn't used to giving big speeches like this one. He said he was more used to giving pep talks to his team as a coach. He tried to draw a contrast between himself and Donald Trump, saying that his values were all about looking after your neighbours, being a good neighbour, being there for the people in your community, even if they had different views to you. He branded Trump as weird and dangerous and said that he was ready to turn the page on him.
When Republicans use the word freedom, they mean that the government should be free to invade your doctor's office. Corporations free to pollute your air and water. And banks free to take advantage of customers. But when we Democrats talk about freedom, we mean the freedom to make a better life for yourself and the people that you love. Freedom to make your own health care decisions. And yeah, your kids' freedom to go to school without worrying about being shot dead in the hall.
During the course of the night, we also heard speeches which were all based around the theme of fighting for freedoms. The Democrats saying that they would fight for abortion rights, reproductive rights, civil rights, and saying that Trump would be a threat to freedom in the form of being a threat to democracy. There was also a surprise speech from Oprah Winfrey, and she said that this was all about a choice between Harris's optimism and Trump's cynicism, saying that it was a choice between common sense and nonsense. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
Time now for us to take a look at other stories making news around the world. 5 bodies retrieved from the sunken wreck of a yacht belonging to the wife of British tech magnate Mike Lynch. The bodies were brought ashore on rescue boats and taken to a nearby hospital for formal identification. Local authorities refused to give any information about who they might have found. Search operation will further continue for one missing body. The Sri Lankan government has announced visa-free access for citizens of 35 countries, including major nations like India, UK, USA, Canada, Germany, Japan, among others. This initiative, approved by the Sri Lankan cabinet, will take effect from the 1st of October this year and will last for 6 months. It is notable that India is the largest source market for tourism to Sri Lanka. The Supreme Court of Sri Lanka has ordered the country's election commission to hold the postponed local government elections immediately. The court ruled that the fundamental rights of voters have been violated due to postponement of the 2023 local government elections. The elections were not held after the government cited lack of funds due to the country's economic crisis. China is making significant advancements in humanoid robotics, challenging industry leaders with innovative startups and affordable high-performance robots. At the exhibition venue, humanoid robots were seen performing simple tasks such as picking up items, walking through obstacles, and mimicking human gestures and expressions. Humanoid robots are primarily used for simple inspection and internal logistics tasks in industrial production. California condors have made a remarkable return to the skies of Mexico thanks to decades of dedicated conservation efforts. Once on the brink of extinction, these majestic birds have been successfully reintroduced to their natural habitats in the mountains of Baja California. Conservation programs involving collaboration between Mexican and U.S. organizations have played a pivotal role in this recovery, focusing on captive breeding, habitat protection, and reducing threats such as lead poisoning. And we are now going across to Warsaw, Poland, the capital of Poland, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is being accorded a ceremonial welcome at the Chancellery. This is day 2 of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Poland. The day will be marked by one-on-one and delegation-level talks between India and Poland. Prime Minister later will be meeting the Polish Prime Minister and the President of Poland as well.
सर
So there you saw the ceremonial welcome being accorded to Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Warsaw, Poland. Today is the second and final day of his visit to Poland before he heads to Ukraine. He was accorded the ceremonial reception on the second day at the Chancellery of the Prime Minister of Poland. This is where the executive office of the Prime Minister of Poland is. This is a landmark visit, and 2024 is significant in the India-Poland bilateral relationship because it marks 70 years of the diplomatic ties between India and Poland, and it's the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Poland in 45 years. Let's now move on to some national stories. India's President Draupadi Murmu presented Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar or National Science Awards 2024 in Delhi on Thursday. The awards were conferred to the celebrated biochemist Govindarajan Padmanabhan, who was selected for the first Vigyan Ratna Award, the topmost science award in the country, while ISRO's Chandrayaan-3 team was selected for the first Vigyan Team Award. The awards are given in the field of science, technology and innovation to recognize outstanding and inspiring scientific, technological and innovation contributions of researchers, technologists and innovators. Meanwhile, there is no let-up in the flood situation in the northeastern Indian state of Tripura due to continuous rainfall, with the Met Office forecasting an alert for extremely heavy rainfall for today. The state machinery is on its toes to mitigate the impact and provide relief to the people. Major rivers like Gomti and Muhuri are flowing above the danger level and have destroyed hectares of cropping fields. Chief Minister Dr. Manek Saha conducted an on-ground assessment of the flood-affected areas in Agartala and visited shelter houses to take stock of the situation and ensure timely support to those in need. India's Home Minister Amit Shah spoke to Chief Minister of the northeastern Indian state of Tripura, Dr. Saha, and took stock of the flood situation. Amit Shah said the centre is rushing teams of NDRF apart from boats and helicopters to the state to assist the local government in the relief and rescue operations. Shah added the government firmly stands with Tripura during this hour of crisis. India's Ministry of External Affairs has rejected Bangladesh's concern on the current flood situation caused by the opening of the Dumbur Dam upstream of the Gumti River in northeastern state of Tripura. Regions alongside the river have witnessed heavy rainfall in the past few days. Calling the information factually incorrect, the MEA has said that flood in Bangladesh is primarily due to automatic release of water near the dam amid heavy inflow. Floods have caused power outage, leading to problems of communication on both sides of Tripura and adjoining districts of Bangladesh. India remains committed to resolving issues and mutual concerns in water resources and river water management through bilateral consultations and technical discussions. Nepal's weather department has predicted light to moderate rain with thunder and lightning in some places. The Met Office has called upon people to take precautions. Yesterday, a landslide disrupted vehicular traffic around the Nagdunga area of Chandragiri in Kathmandu Valley. Meanwhile, the Karnali highway was blocked due to landslides and incessant rain in Smod and Hulma in Kalikot district. Work is underway to open the roads blocked due to floods and landslides. In Bangladesh, the Muhammad Yunus interim government is taking steps to publish a white paper on the current economic situation. Chief Advisor's office announced on Wednesday that a committee led by economist Devapriya Bhattacharya has been formed to prepare the white paper. The committee will publish the white paper within 90 days after taking charge. A document from the office states that the proposed white paper will reflect the overall picture of the current economy, including public finance, inflation and food management as well. Also, the white paper will focus on country's external balance, export, import, remittances, foreign direct investment, foreign exchange reserves, foreign finance flow and debt status. The Indian government may increase disbursements under the Production-Linked Incentive Scheme to nearly 15,000 crore rupees for the fiscal year 2025. That is double of the 6,800 in the year 2024. End of May shows combined investments under the PLI schemes had hit 1.3 trillion rupees. Covering 14 sectors, the PLI scheme was launched in 2021. Large-scale electronics manufacturing sector, mainly mobile manufacturers, will account for 41% of the total disbursals. 4 sectors, automobiles and auto components, advanced chemistry cell, textile products and specialty steel will receive incentives for the first time this year. Let's now take a look at some other stories making news. The first meeting of the Joint Parliamentary Committee on the Waqf Amendment Bill 2024 is taking place in New Delhi. During the meeting, representatives of the Minority Affairs Ministry are briefing the members on the bill and the amendments proposed in the bill. The JPC will submit its report in Parliament on the last day of the first week of the winter session. In the Kolkata doctor rape and murder case, the Apex Court of India, after examining the report filed by Kolkata police, questioned the timing, sequence of registration of unnatural death case and post-mortem. The Supreme Court has urged doctors to return back to work and assured that no adverse action will be taken against them. A specific security alert was detected on Air India flight travelling from Mumbai to Thiruvananthapuram on Thursday. Security threat for passengers' safety were carried out and all on board were disembarked safely. The flight has landed safely in Thiruvananthapuram and has been parked in a remote bay for the mandatory checks by security agencies. In the southern coastal region of Andhra Pradesh's Anakapalle, at least 17 people died and 35 were injured in an explosion. The explosion occurred at the Essentia company, which is a pharma firm's plant in the special economic zone. Essentia makes intermediate chemicals and active pharma ingredients. Time for us to take another breather on DD India News Hour. Coming up after that, India's star javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra will be in action at the Lausanne Diamond League late on Thursday night. Football icon Cristiano Ronaldo breaks world record for hitting the fastest 1 million YouTube subscribers.
August 2023, India created history by successfully landing Chandrayaan-3 on the lunar surface. To commemorate the feat, August 23rd has been declared as National Space Day.
I see space as a critical infrastructure without which, like roads, waterways and air transport, space is becoming so critical for our security, for national asset mapping and for comfort of life of human beings. We must become a leader to take it the place to go to Moon, Mars and habitat of creation of human beings outside. Who else will do? I believe India will be the leader in doing it.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Munman Bhattacharya. Time now for all the sports action. India's star javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra will be in action at the Lausanne Diamond League late on Thursday night. The event features a strong field, including Paris Olympics bronze medalist Anderson Peters, though Olympic champion Arshad Nadeem will skip the event. The Lausanne Diamond League will meet and it will be the 5th competition of the season for Neeraj Chopra. Neeraj won silver at Paris 2024 with a throw of 89.45 meters and is currently 4th in the Diamond League standings. He needs a top 6 finish in Lausanne to qualify for the Diamond League final in Brussels next month. His main competition includes Jakob Waldech of Czechia and Julian Weber of Germany. Portuguese footballer Cristiano Ronaldo broke the world record after hitting the fastest 1 million YouTube subscribers on Thursday. The football star launched his channel on Wednesday, quickly amassing hundreds of thousands of subscribers within hours. The 39-year-old and 5-time Ballon d'Or winner announced on social media, saying, "The wait is over, the channel is here, subscribe and join the journey." Just a couple of hours later, after his video went live, 1.69 million subscribers had already joined his channel. Ronaldo, who has 112.5 million followers on the X platform and 636 million on Instagram, is set to take over YouTube next. Chelsea completes the signing of Portugal forward João Felix from Atletico Madrid, while England midfielder Conor Gallagher moves in the opposite direction. The 24-year-old Felix, who has signed a 7-year deal with the club, scored 4 goals in 20 appearances during his 6-month loan spell in West London in 2023. Felix expressed his excitement and said that he is really happy to be back and can't wait to get started. Meanwhile, Gallagher, who has signed a 5-year contract with the Spanish club, scored 10 goals in his 90 appearances for Chelsea. Gallagher had entered the last year of his contract at Stamford Bridge. Hence, Chelsea decided to sell now instead of losing him on a free transfer next summer. In cricket, Afghanistan Cricket Board appointed a former Indian fielding coach Ramakrishnan Sridhar as the assistant coach for the national team on Wednesday. Ramakrishnan will coach the team for the upcoming fixtures. And now we are going across to Warsaw in Poland, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Polish counterpart Donald Tusk are holding a one-on-one meeting. The visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Poland is a landmark one because it's the first time in 45 years that an Indian Prime Minister is visiting Poland. This year marks 70 years of diplomatic ties between India and Poland. Poland is a key partner of India in Central Europe. It is the biggest economy in Central Europe and one of India's largest trading partners in Central Europe as well, with bilateral trade being around $6 billion. The entire gamut of the bilateral relationship is expected to be discussed between the two sides. In the last few years particularly, there have been high-level frequent contacts between India and Poland. The two leaders have met in the past as well. And in fact, PM Tusk had visited India in 2010. But when PM Tusk was president of European Council earlier, PM Modi had met him 4 times. Also, PM Modi had held a telephonic conversation with President Andrzej Duda in 2022. And External Affairs Minister and Polish Foreign Minister had met on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference in February 2024. This visit is taking place at the invitation of his Polish counterpart Donald Tusk. The entire world is watching Prime Minister's visit to Poland and Ukraine. Poland is an important partner for India in Central Europe. As far as India-Polish economic ties is concerned, they have been on an upswing because Poland has the 6th largest economy within the EU, and Poland will also hold the next presidency of the Council of the European Union. In 2022, a big Indian business delegation visited Poland, and Prime Minister will be meeting select Polish businessmen today as well, besides meeting some Polish influencers. That includes Indologists. The Prime Minister yesterday addressed members of the Indian diaspora and told them to become ambassadors of tourism to India. Poland is India's largest trading partner in Central and Eastern Europe, as we've been telling you. Currently, bilateral ties stand at around $6 billion. So this visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Poland is expected to take India-Polish bilateral relationship to new heights. Regional issues could also be discussed in wake of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine before the Prime Minister heads to Ukraine later tonight. And we will have special programming on PM's Poland visit in a short while from now. And we'll also tell you that Poland and India can go a long way. And this visit of the Indian Prime Minister will help strengthen economic bonds. That's what the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs has said. Also speaking to DD India correspondent Vishal Baristo, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Poland has said that Poland appreciates the diplomatic approach of India towards the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
I have with me the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Bartoszewski in Poland. Let's talk to him and find out. You're wearing a very nice Indian turban. First of all, how does it feel?
It feels great. It's got Polish flags and Indian flags. It's a cooperation that's made by somebody who lives and works in Poland as an Indian. We have a very large community here, and at this speech we had 500 Indians shouting vigorously with delight when Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister, was making a very upbeat speech about the current situation of India, the future of India, the future of the world, and cooperation with Poland, which he's visited after 45 years of not having the Indian Prime Minister. We are planning to sign a strategic partnership. India has it with a few countries in Europe. We have it with Japan, China and South Korea. It means that we are going to cooperate on a variety of fields, in fact in every field imaginable. We are the country next to which border there is a war. India is familiar with wars because you've had a number of wars in the last 50 years on a smaller scale, but they are still open source, and we don't want to live in like that. And India and Poland are supporters of international law-based order.
India doesn't want it, we don't want it, and that is why both countries are friends, because both believe in democratic values. With cameraman Sanjeev in Warsaw, this is Vishal Baristu for DD India.
That's all in this edition of DD India News Hour, but do share your thoughts with us on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. Up next is a special broadcast on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Poland with my colleague Shubhendu Ghosh. That's coming up next. I'll see you later.